Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm ExxotikGaming. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. In today's video, I'm going to take you on a little journey into the past, to about a year and a half ago, to the beginning of 2022, when a brand new mobile game came out made by NetEase Games that had a ton of potential. This mobile game was completely different from the battle royales and extraction games of the time. It was a brand new genre, but unfortunately, this game did not have a successful course like many of the other NetEase games, like Project Bloodstrike is doing right now, for instance. This game got its last beta update on February 1st, 2023, and we've not heard anything from the developers since. You can still play the game right now, the servers are still online, but I think this game could have potentially been canceled, or at least postponed until further notice. I really hope that's not the case, but it could be. And in today's video, I kind of want to dedicate an entire video reacting to some of the best gameplays showcasing ZOZ Final Hour. ZOZ Final Hour is available for both iOS and Android devices. And if you're in the select few countries that the beta is currently available for, you can just search it up on the App Store and the Google Play Store and download it. I welcome you to download the game and try it out because it's completely different from so many of the other games that we're used to nowadays. You're seeing some of the trailer right here, and it looks really cool, in my personal opinion. I even called it like a next-gen incredible mobile game or something like that back when I first played it over a year ago. And yeah, in today's video, we're going to take a look at some of the gameplays posted by some other YouTubers, including a YouTuber known as Jonatron7J. This guy has posted tons of videos on this game, and he's still uploading, even up to a month ago. So, I mean, this is somebody that really understands ZOZ Final Hour, and his gameplay is going to be far superior to anything that I could potentially get myself. So hopefully, seeing his gameplay, you're going to get a really good understanding of what this game is about, and maybe you're going to want to download it. So yes, to start, I would like to give you guys a description of this game if you've seen some of the trailer and gameplay and you're still very confused about this game. This is a game that essentially combines sort of like a battle royale, an extraction game, and a zombies mode where some players can turn into zombies and then try to turn other players into zombies. It's a very interesting combination of different game modes, but it worked. And I remember when I played it back in the day, it was really cool. So essentially in ZOZ Final Hour, a third-person shooter game with a unique setting, players must complete tasks to survive in a city overrun by zombies called San Yagar. Players must always be on the lookout for zombie hordes roaming the streets and other players who might decide to turn on them at the last second to grab the victory. Players in ZOZ Final Hour assume the role of mercs, troops entrusted with exploring San Yagar and retrieving a material known as blood crystals. These crystals may hold the secret to putting an end to the threat of the undead. Players must utilize their weapons and special abilities to outnumber the numerous zombies swarming the streets of San Yagar. Players can betray one another and claim the spoils of victory for themselves. However, this comes with danger because deceased players return as zombie mercs with their special powers. It's not just the zombies who pose a threat. The zombie mercs mechanism allows players to exact revenge on teammates who betrayed them. Thus, the game doesn't stop when a player is eliminated. So essentially, yes, this is a game that you could play with full teamwork, or you could play in a more PvP setting. It's essentially a PvPvE game, and if you have a really good group of people on your server, you could, in theory, just have everybody working together, everybody is friendly, and everybody can successfully extract in the game. Obviously, that's not normally how it works in this game. A lot of people are bloodthirsty and they want to kill other players, but when you kill other players in this game, it's only going to make it more difficult for you because those people are going to turn into zombies. They're going to respawn. They're going to see on the minimap where they last died, and they're going to try to hunt you down and turn you into a zombie. You have to collect those things called blood crystals, which are these cool little red crystals scattered across the map. It's not hard to find them, but some of them are in some pretty precarious areas, like way up on top of a building or a church or something like that. Everybody is hunting for these things, and you need to get 5 blood crystals before you can eventually call something called an evac chopper. This evac chopper is going to take some time before it arrives. It's going to be like, I don't know, 3 minutes or something like that from the last time I remember. I could be a little bit off there, but it'll take a few minutes before this evac chopper arrives. All of the zombies on the map that are players that turned into zombies will be alerted that somebody called an evac chopper, and they're going to try to kill that player before they can successfully evacuate. Any other player that has survived up until this point can see on the map where the evac chopper is. They can go to it, and then they can evacuate with the other person. So, I mean, at that point in time, everybody can team up together. But it's really interesting because, you know, you have zombies, for instance, that have these very special powers where they can climb up buildings really far, and they're super fast compared to players. Players have all sorts of different weapons that can be modified and upgraded over time. So you're going to start off with pretty basic weapons, and then as you play the game further and further, you're going to get better and better weapons and attachments and special abilities. I don't exactly remember what the special abilities are, but I'm sure you're seeing some of them in the gameplay right here. And yeah, there's just a wide range of different weapons that you can use, different abilities, and just pretty much everything that a mobile game needs to be successful in 2023. So it's very confusing why this game is not successful right now in 2023. Maybe they're just taking a really long time to create future beta tests for this game, and they really want to polish it as good as possible before they release it. Because the unique thing about ZOZ Final Hour is it's sort of like a completely different genre. It's not directly competing with Lost Lights and Escape from Tarkov, and then it's not competing with some of the Battle Royale games that are out there, like Project Bloodstrike and Warzone Mobile. So it doesn't really matter when ZOZ Final Hour finally does release, as long as it's a completely polished game, then I think this game would be pretty successful. I don't necessarily know, though, if NetEase feels the same way. They first released this game back like in May or April 2022. I remember making a video on it back in the day. I really liked it. And then it went silent for a long time, and then it got another beta test, and then it went silent for a long time. And then the most recent beta test was in late January 2023, early February, and they added a few more countries to this new beta test, including Bolivia, Colombia, Malaysia, Mexico, Peru, as well as the countries that are already available, like Brazil, Indonesia, and Singapore. So those countries are currently the countries that can play the game right now. And if you have an iOS device or an Android device, you can just search up the game in those countries and download it off of the App Store and the Google Play Store. If you're not from those countries, it's a bit more complicated for iOS users. What you're essentially going to need to do is recreate a new Apple ID based in one of those countries, whether it be Singapore or Bolivia. Doesn't really matter which one you choose. And then for Android users, it is a bit simpler. You just have to download the game's APK file, install it, and then play it from there. I don't even think you need to play this game with a VPN, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be entirely wrong. You can test it out first without a VPN and then see for yourself whether or not you want it. But one thing that I really didn't like about ZOZ Final Hour is they pretty much forced you to have voice chat on. And I really didn't like this about the game. I would try to make my own live commentaries in ZOZ Final Hour, and then there'd just be kids screaming in the backgrounds to one another in a different language. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to make a commentary when my voice is being publicly broadcasted? They're not going to want to hear a YouTube commentary while they're talking to one another about the actual game, you know? So that was one thing that I really didn't like. And if this game isn't being canceled and they're still working on it, this is something that I think the developers should consider adding in, an ability for you to turn off your microphone and turn off other people's microphone, which was most important. Turn off other people's microphones so you don't hear them, and you can just engross yourself in the game a lot more easily. But yeah, man, I really liked ZOZ Final Hour. I thought this game had some pretty solid graphics, not necessarily the very best graphics out of any NetEase game, period, but some of the better graphics. And I would go as far to say that this was probably one of the top 3 or 4 NetEase games ever released. It was a really, really cool game. It might have been clunky and had a lot of glitches and bugs and other stuff like that, but the actual core gameplay itself and the whole idea of what you needed to do to complete this game successfully and win was really cool. It was a fresh new game, And it's different from a lot of the other NetEase games that are just trying to capitalize on already existing games. You have Creative Destruction, which is capitalizing on Fortnite. You can't play it anymore, but it did do that. You had, for instance, Lost Lights, which capitalized on Escape from Tarkov. You had Project Bloodstrike, which is differentiating itself a lot, but in the very beginning, it was trying to capitalize on the hype from Warzone Mobile. Rules of Survival and Knives Out were capitalizing on PUBG Mobile, and I could just go on and on and on. You know, all of these NetEase games, or at least the vast majority of them, were very similar to games that already existed, and I don't know of another game that was even remotely similar to ZOZ Final Hour. It combined like 3 or 4 different game modes all into one game, and it worked, and it was really freaking cool. Another interesting thing that I thought was a pretty cool next-gen addition to ZOZ Final Hour was when you opened up the game for the very first time, you didn't just have a static main menu screen like you would have in PUBG or Call of Duty where all it had was your character and you could spin your character around on the screen. No, you actually loaded into this lobby where there were a bunch of other players just kind of casually hanging out. And there were different areas of this lobby that you could run to. You could even emote and dance and other stuff like that. So it brought in like a Fortnite aspect to it, where there was a more casual, just hanging out with your friends type of aspect to the game, at least in the lobby. And it was really cool. It was really cool. And it sucks that nobody knows about this game anymore. So many people completely forgot about it. And I'm sure you can let me know down below in the comments if this video is like the first time you even thought about this game in like a year. I seriously think the majority of the people that are watching this video probably didn't even think about this game ever since they maybe saw another person's YouTube video like a year ago, whenever there was a last beta test. So I mean, like, I don't know. I hope this game does come back, but I'm not necessarily that optimistic about it. I think this was just a commercial failure for NetEase, and I think they're probably not going to try to revive it. If they do, that's extremely exciting. I really hope they do. And I guess it's entirely possible that it's just taking a really long time for the next beta test to come out, or maybe even a global release. Maybe they're pretty much ready to release a global release, and ZOZ Final Hour might be available in September or October or November. You never really know, right? Obviously, I'm going to make a video on it if it does come out in a global form, or if there's any new beta tests and we get any more updates or information about this game, because I don't want to leave you guys in the dark. If you guys liked this game in the past and you kind of just wondered what the heck was going on with development on this game, I'm going to try to keep you guys up to date with everything. But yeah, I think that basically covers everything. That is essentially ZOZ Final Hour. I know this was a bit of a more casual video, but for a game that's probably completely gone at this point, this video was like more of a throwback to reminisce on a game that came out, had a promising future, but it just didn't follow through with it. Let me know what you guys thought about ZOZ Final Hour. I would love to know your guys' opinions. If you could leave your opinions down below in the comments, that would be awesome. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more mobile gaming content. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you all in the next episode.